I am in a unique and very lucky position at this hackathon in that basically I had the great pleasure of working with a team that built me something. I'm a DIY filmmaker. I work a lot with companies that traditionally you wouldn't think employ DIY filmmakers, like PBS or The Economist. But I work in a really, really, really small crew, and I'll show you just how small in a little bit. And basically what's been built for me is this great product called Spike. And Spike is a force multiplier for DIY filmmakers. Let's talk about what that actually means and why you would need a force multiplier for DIY filmmakers. So this is a quote that I really love. It's from Orson Welles. A writer needs a pen, an artist needs a brush, but a filmmaker needs an army. And it's true if you start thinking about traditional filmmaking, that is high budget, huge crew filmmaking, where you have multiple departments with multiple people doing multiple tasks. So you're talking about company moves being 200 or 300 people going from one location to another. You're talking about an extended period of pre-production, followed by an extended period of production, and then post-production that can literally take years. Something that you don't have the opportunity of doing if you are a low-budget filmmaker working in a small crew. And I think that one thing that's probably quite apparent to anyone who works at Fox is that there's really nothing in between anymore. That's pretty much what you have. You have your big budget, huge crew films, and then you have the small budget, small crew films. And so you have this question for the people who fall on this side of the scale. Well, how do you actually make something? I said I would show you my crew. This is it. This is me. You can't really see it there, but there are two shadows. There's me, and then there's my wife. I was the director that day. That's why I'm wearing the captain's hat. And this is pretty much what we look like whenever we travel, wherever we travel to work. We do all of these jobs and more. So how do we do that? How do we plan? How do we shoot? How do we edit all of our work together? Well, we take a really, really long time to do it. Our last project for PBS, Empire, took 4 years to make and has about the equivalent of 1 feature's worth of material in it. How do you do all of this when you're really just that? And that's where Spike comes in. We don't get to really spend much time in the locations that we shoot in. We don't get to really plot things out before we shoot them. Camera positioning is something that we do on the fly. We run and we gun because we're filmmakers. And by extension, we also have to organize all of our media afterwards. We're constantly spending days and days and days putting together all of this stuff that normally would be passed off to someone down the line who's earning, a little bit of money on the side, maybe $200 or $300 a day, but they really want to be in the business. Well, the thing is, people who want to be in the business now, they just make films. And we figured out that HoloLens can actually help you make films on a lower budget than you would normally be able to make them and do a lot more than you would be able to do as a single person or as a 2-person crew. So let's show you how Spike works. Field on. Rotate on. Video tap and field on. Now, the really fun part of that, of course, is basically what you saw is me setting cameras one by one. And then in a production scenario, I would move the camera, the actual camera, to the location of the Spike camera. Put it down, set the metadata, or actually really set the settings to exactly the metadata that's embedded in the Spike. That's what we call each one of the cameras. Film, change location, film, change location, film. And then the great thing about that is that all of the settings that you have go into the metadata of the digital video you're recording, and then it matches. So you have the opportunity to actually organize the media as you're shooting it and bring it into a nonlinear editing system like that. So you're talking about a loss of like 3 days of post-production work that I'm used to doing myself. And I really, really like that. And I'm very grateful to my team right now for actually making that a possibility. So we're at Fox right now. And it sort of makes you wonder, well, how else could this possibly be useful? Well, the thing is that what we've really done is just figured out a way to tag and calibrate information that then can be used in production, and that can go across any department that you want to be working with. So it's not just about the camera crew, it's about the art department. And if you're layering these things one on top of another, because we do have the capability, I believe a functional capability of toggling between users. Okay, this is one of the most, this is the only prototype that I've ever worked on where we actually had to worry about feature creep. So it's essentially an information tracking system for space and time,
yes.
Which seems like kind of a great application with a lot of different uses. Archaeology, construction, or if you want to get really morbid, crime scenes.
Go Bones.
So, a couple of years from now, when we're watching Bones, and we see one of the lead characters slide on their HoloLens and start tagging those blood spatters and those shell casings, we just have to say, thank you, Microsoft, because this was a really great hackathon. And that's our team.